look at. Hey, Julie, why don't we talk a little bit about the challenges to get to Mars?
Okay. Again, thank you for putting this event on and having us here to be able to talk about such an exciting subject. Personally, I'm just thrilled to be a part of it. I've been into science and space since I was a little kid, reading both science fiction as well as science, and now we're getting to see the marriage of the two coming together with going to Mars. And it really can happen in our lifetime, in our generation. We have the tools now to do it. It won't be easy, but it is just amazing to see the kind of things that we'll be able to, the problems we'll be able to solve and the progress we'll be able to make. And so if you think about going to Mars, that with people, that'll be harder than anything we've ever done, okay? It's, instead of being a few hundred miles away, we're gonna be 35, millions of miles away. And it takes us, as opposed to a few days, like when we did lunar missions or when we take a few hours when we take people up, we're gonna be gone for years, okay? And then, assuming we want to land, which is I think what our goal is, we're gonna have to live there. We're gonna have to live in a place we've never been. We're gonna have to live and have all the living things, the tools, the shelters, et cetera, in an environment we know something about, but we don't know everything about. And so, I look at it as I hike a lot, and I'm looking at this as a big expedition, and when you set out on an expedition, we're going somewhere no one's ever been. I mean, we've sent some robotics, but no person has ever been. We're going to be in an environment that we don't know everything about it. We're to be gone longer, and somehow or another, we got to bring everything with us to be able to deal with whatever's going to come our way, because I guarantee you we're going to find out stuff. We'll be real smart about this, how we do things, but we're going to find out stuff we've never known, so we got to be prepared for that. So instead of, when we put the laboratory on Mars, a little while ago, and we were all terrified about landing a ton, a small car, or small SUV on the surface, we're going to be landing at least 40 tons of stuff. We're going to be landing the equivalent of houses, multiple houses on the surface. And so those are the type of, magnitudes of things that we have to deal with. And, it's really hard to get off the Earth, okay? It just takes so much capability, and the only practical way to do this is with a large rocket, and that large rocket's an enabler. As we think about how we're going to do this, we got to do it in a stepwise fashion. We aren't just going to go, pile everything on the rocket and head there tomorrow. We've got to go and have a thoughtful way to deal with solving some of the problems or some of the challenges that we have, such as how are people going to deal with living in space a long time? How are we going to, position all these things to get them there at the right time? And so you think about it, we have transportation, you have life support, and then you have landing and living on the surface of Mars. And so from a transportation standpoint, we've talked a little bit about SLS. Well, having a big rocket is going to make this possible, because you have a lot to bring up there. That 40 tons doesn't come easy, and that's, if you were to use it with our current expendable size rockets, we'd be launching all the time to just get stuff up there. I'm not sure it would be very practical. So that's critical. And then you think about it, we're taking people. Robotics are absolutely critical for us being able to do this, but when you take people, it kind of ratchets the game up even further. We always design our rockets to be reliable for every mission, but when you have people on there, that's a whole nother ball game, in terms of how you think about it, how you feel about it. As we do that, we're going to build off some of the systems we have experience with, because we're going to be asking these systems to do even more. If we were to say, okay, we're going to go develop the brand new, rocket propulsion that's, Six Sigma to the best performance, it's like, okay, we could do that, but we'd be taking added risk. And so taking an approach where we build off what we know and incrementally improve it, is the right way from a risk managed way to get people there. And we're doing that by reusing RS-25s and then evolving those to be able to solve this mission. We also got to think about, how do we come back? How do we get people into the orbit? How do we land? And that's going to be quite a number of different transportation systems that we're going to have to put together. And as we mentioned earlier, we will be relying on partners to do some of this. This is a big venture. It's not like one single company is going to do this. This will be a world-type effort, and take the capabilities, both financial as well as people, to do that. in terms of the life support, think about we're going to have people, in space a long time, on the surface of the planet, and then coming back. And we're talking years. We've learned a lot being with station. We talked about some of the earlier precursor missions about being able to position things in space. And those things will allow us to learn more about that environment and get us ready, for taking that next big step. And then the landing side of it, we think back on when MSL went down, and believe me, our propulsion was bringing it down a lot of the way, so we were thinking about that pretty hard. Now we're going to be landing a lot more stuff, and we're going to have people. And so, perfecting the systems to do that are going to be critical, because we're not going to go and view the goal, and then we don't want to have any doubt that we can actually get there. So, it's a lot of things, and you think about it and say, oh my, that's something that is the stuff of science fiction, but it's not. We really have learned a lot in space over the last 50 years. We're learning and putting more things together, and that basic infrastructure, and that's what we're talking about with the capabilities thing. It's really an infrastructure. We're putting in place the infrastructure so we can be spacefarers. And that is really what it's all about. And you don't just say, I'm going to go do it and do that tomorrow. You got to think about it, plan it. There'll be a number of different missions and pieces that go together. But I think the type of accomplishments we've had to date, the things we're doing today, and the things we're going to do here very near in the future show that we're ready to do that. And, I think, as a set of partners, as a set of capabilities that we have with NASA leading the way to do something that's never been done, I think we're ready to go do that. So I'm pretty excited and want to be part of that, making science fiction a reality.
That's really good. You articulated extremely well all the challenges. So with those challenges, there must be some benefits, right? So now you got to kind of come the other way, right?
Well, there's, solving, talk about it from, I'm a glasses, half empty, so I always look at, okay, what's it going to take to do that? But by doing that, I think you accomplish a lot more. And we're going to face a lot of things and solve a lot of, things that are based on physics in doing this. We'll increase the scientific knowledge of our country. We, again, will reestablish a leadership capability. We'll be, every time you go into space, you go do something different, we learn things, we bring back and develop products, we develop capabilities we never dreamed of. And so that'll be a part of it. The space economically, the space business is a very large business for the US and worldwide, and it's growing. Okay, this will create, not just some, create jobs for the people that are in the industry, but it'll create things that none of us can even imagine right now. And then again, it'll, further where humankind goes. It's, I think we're born with that, desire to move forward, to improve life for our children, to learn new things. And this will be, maybe it's not the ultimate, but it's certainly a big step along that way.